Greetings, Nick with Sweetwater here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the all-tube Sheriff 22 head made by Victory Amplification from good old England. Let's have at it. Yes, my friend, the neat little lunchbox style lamp next to me is a Victory Sheriff 22, a 22-watt dual-channel all-tube head. And as already mentioned, it's made in England's green and pleasant land. It's housed in a portable, yet sturdy metal casing. And believe me, this beast is not only roadworthy, but extremely portable. In fact, as an added bonus, it comes with this handy dandy shoulder bag. Yes sir, the Sheriff 22 is so compact you can put it in this little bag and take it on a plane as carry-on. TSA permitting, of course. When you take into account this amp's black head box and gold front panel, plus its country of origin, I'm sure it will come to no surprise to you that Victory proudly state that the Sheriff 22 produces classic British overdrive sounds. From the mid-60s blues rock tones of Channel 1, right the way through to the classic rock and hot-rodded metal sounds of the 70s and 80s, which lurk in Channel 2. To be honest, as opposed to lying, the fact it's named the Sheriff is also a dead giveaway as to where it comes from. Get it? Of course you do. Sheriff is another word for one beginning with M, and it's not Mathers. The fact that the Sheriff 22 has two inputs, labelled 1 and 2, plus controls for volumes 1 and 2 as well, further hammers home the fact that the legendary plexitone of another great English company was clearly a major tonal influence on this little boy here. Channel 2 has quite a bit more gain than Channel 1. It's also much more aggressive than its Channel 1 sibling, which is a little more, shall we say, polite. In a nutshell, both channels are decidedly British in terms of tone, and both have a nice mid-bump too. Yup, this little boy next to me is not only a sheriff by name, but a sheriff by nature too. The Sheriff 22's tube complement is as follows. 4 ECC 83s, which as you know are also known as 12AX7s, and those are in the preamp, and then there's a pair of fixed bias EL84s working in Class AB push-pull in the rear stage. Now, if you're used to hearing a pair of EL84s in, say, a Vox AC15, you might well be thinking that this amp producing a plexitone is a little bit of a stretch. But if you are, though, please think again. Let me explain. Remember, the EL84s in a Vox AC15 are cathode biased. However, as just mentioned, the pair of EL84s in the Sheriff 22 are fixed bias running in Class AB, and that's a completely different beast, especially coupled with a really good design like this one here. In fact, just so you know, the 20-watt Marshall 2061 head of the late 60s and early 70s also boasted a pair of EL84 power tubes working in push-pull, and that amp was often fondly referred to as a baby plexi due to, wait for it, its plexi-like tone. I rest my case. At this point, let's take this bad boy out of its metal case so we can take a quick gander at the handmade British interior. Here's the Victory 22 chassis, and as you can see, its neat top side shows off the amp's beefy power and output transformer, plus of course its tube complement of 4 ECC 83s in the front end and a pair of EL84s in its power section. As you can see, The ECC-83s live inside metal tube shields, and as the name suggests, these metal covers shield said tubes from any unwanted electromagnetic interference that may be lurking nearby. Good stuff. Next, let's flip the chassis over and take a quick look under the hood so we can see the Sheriff 22's inner workings. That's pretty neat and impressive, isn't it? As you can see, all the valve circuitry is hand-wired, while the rest of the circuitry is PCB and connected to the valves via hand wiring again. All of this is done in England, and it's a nice marriage of old and new technology. Sometimes you just can't beat that all-important human touch. Oh, and just in case you don't know what PCB means, it's an acronym for printed circuit board. That explained, let's put the chassis back in its metal housing and get back to a few more sounds. In true Plexi fashion, channel 1 of the Sheriff especially responds really well to your picking nuances and also cleans up really nicely when you roll your volume back a hair. Just like this. Incidentally, I'm running the Sheriff into this eye-catching cream V112-CC Victory 1x12 cabinet. It's loaded with a Celestion 65-watt creamback that delivers a nice greenback-like woody knock, but with 40 watts more power handling capability. It definitely complements the Sheriff 22 both visually and tonally, in my humble opinion. The Sheriff's front panel is extremely straightforward. 2 inputs, 1 and 2, then from left to right, volume 1, volume 2, treble, middle, bass and master. Then on the far right, a 3-way toggle power switch with a neat looking large purple jewel light to let you know when it's on. Now if you're a Plexi style amp purist, the fact that the Sheriff 22 has a master volume might cause you to raise your eyebrows. But just so you know, the master volume is after the phase inverter. So if you want the sound and feel of a non-master volume, all you've got to do is crank the master all the way up and have at it. But brace yourself if you do that. Don't let this amp's diminutive size or its mere 22 watts fool you. This amp is really, really loud. With the exception of the intro, so far I've just been demoing channel 1 and channel 2 by plugging into their respective inputs, also numbered 1 and 2. Unlike the classic Plexis of yesteryear though, the Sheriff 22's 2 channels are foot-switchable via the supplied LED foot switch, this one right here. The foot switch works by simply plugging it into input 1 while you plug your guitar into input 2. Simple, right? That done, the light off tells you channel 1 is selected, and when the foot switch lights up, you know you're on channel 2. Perfect. Also, as an added bonus, there's a pocket in the carrying case for the switch too. Perfect. Also, the Sheriff does have a series effects loop on its rear panel, which is where I've placed my MXR Reverb and Echoplex pedals, to add some ambience and hide my schlocky playing. Also, by the way, once again, to appease the purists out there, this loop includes a bypass switch which takes it completely out of the circuit, so no harm, no foul. As already mentioned twice, this is a very loud 22 watt amp. So, even though it does have a master volume, practicing in your bedroom without upsetting other people in your house, and other houses too, could pose a problem. Enter a simple but very clever Victory amp solution. A built-in power soak which feeds a low power speaker output. That way you can leave your master volume at the so-called sweet spot you desire and crank away and not get evicted or have the cops call on you. Perfect. Last but certainly not least, the rear panel also boasts an external biased adjustment feature for the power tubes. This means an authorized tech can use the probe sockets and the bias adjustment pot without having to take the chassis out of the case. While this is a great feature though, please remember this: it should only be used by an authorized technician. Remember, just because you own a multimeter and a few of these doesn't automatically make you a qualified tech. Leave that stuff to the experts. Got it? And there you have it, my friend. Yes, sir, there's a new sheriff in town, and he kicks serious bottom. And by the way, he has a bigger brother too, the Sheriff 44. Wait for it, a 44-watt beast that's powered by a brace of EL34s. But that's another video. For more information on this cool-sounding and feeling little slice of English magic, go to sweetwater.com, or better still, call your sales engineer and he or she will be only too happy to guide you through its many features. I'm out. Toodle pip, old bean! Thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, or start at sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs. Goodbye.